The most dramatic moment in the history of the zipper is not the invention, it is the jam. You pull, it catches, the teeth split open behind the slider, and suddenly this tiny object has power over your jacket, your bag, your suitcase, your tent, or the front of your pants. That panic tells you something important. We trust zippers with the places where failure is most annoying, most public, or most embarrassing. And that trust did not arrive quickly. The zipper took over the world, only after people spent decades trying to make it stop failing. Welcome to History of Everyday Items. If you like stories where ordinary objects turn out to have strange pasts, like the video, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Today we are following the zipper, the little row of teeth that changed clothing, luggage, uniforms, boots, bags, tents, and the way modern life opens and closes. The zipper looks simple because it works in one motion. But before it worked, it was a strange promise. Imagine living in a world of buttons, hooks, laces, buckles, ties, pins, and clasps. Closing something took time. A boot could need lacing. A dress could need help. A pouch could spill. A coat could gape between buttons. The old fasteners were useful, but many of them closed in separate points. A zipper does something different. It closes a whole line at once. That is the magic. One pull turns two flexible edges into one joined seam. One pull opens them again. It feels obvious now, but the obvious version came late. One of the early steps belongs to Elias Howe, better known for the sewing machine. In 1851, Howe patented an idea called an automatic continuous clothing closure. The phrase already sounds close to the dream, continuous automatic clothing. But an idea can be ahead of its market and still not become the thing everyone uses. Howe's closure did not turn into the everyday zipper. Decades later, Whitcomb Judson pushed the idea forward with a device called a clasp blocker. Judson's fastener was shown at the 1893 World's Columbian Exposition in Chicago. That should have been a perfect stage. The fair was full of modern promises, electricity, machinery, new products, new ways of living. A fastener that could replace slow hooks and buttons sounded like it belonged there. But the clasp blocker had a problem. It was clever before it was dependable. Early fasteners could be bulky. They could be difficult to align. They could open when they should stay closed or refuse to open when they should release. And with a closure, reliability is not a luxury. It is the whole product. No one wants a fastening system that works most of the time. That is why the zipper story is really a story about trust. The person who pushed the device into its modern form was Gideon Sundback, a Swedish-born electrical engineer working in the United States for the fastener business that grew out of this early industry. Sundback did not merely add a better handle. He rethought the relationship between the teeth, the tapes, and the slider. The key idea was a pair of flexible strips carrying many small interlocking elements. The slider did the choreography. As it moved one way, it guided the two rows together, so each element locked with the opposite side. As it moved the other way, it separated them again. That sounds easy only because the finished zipper hides the engineering. Each tooth has to meet the next tooth at the right angle. The two sides have to stay flexible without pulling apart. The slider has to be smooth enough for a hand, but firm enough to force the teeth into order. The whole thing has to bend around a body, a boot, a bag, or a jacket without opening by accident. In 1917, Sundback's separable fastener patent was issued. The National Museum of American History preserves a patent model connected to this modern slide zipper. It is not a glamorous object. It is metal and fabric, small enough to miss if you're not looking for it. But it contains the logic of the modern zipper. Two sides, a line of teeth, and a slider that turns separation into connection. The name, though, was not there yet. For a while, the device was known through names like hookless fastener, clasp blocker, or separable fastener. Those names describe a mechanism, but they do not sell a feeling. Then B.F. Goodrich used the fastener on rubber boots. The story often told is that the fastener made a zipping sound, and the company helped popularize the word zipper. Whether you think of the sound, the speed, or the snap of a modern product, the name mattered. Zipper is short, physical, and memorable. It makes the device feel quick before you even pull it. But even with a better name, the zipper did not instantly conquer clothing. Its early useful homes were practical and slightly unromantic. Boots, tobacco pouches, things that needed a long, secure opening and did not care much about fashion. That was important. The zipper needed places where utility could prove it before style had to love it. A rubber boot is a good test case. Feet move. Boots flex. Mud, water, cold, and daily wear punish the closure. If a fastener could survive there, it was no longer just a novelty from a fair. It was a working part. The same was true of pouches and bags. A pouch needs to close all the way so small things do not fall out. A zipper gives the hand a clear answer. Open or closed. Not half-buttoned. Not loosely tied. Closed. This is one reason zippers feel so modern. They make closure binary. The line is either joined or it is not. Clothing took longer, partly because clothing is conservative in ways machines are not. People do not adopt a new closure only because it works. It also has to look right, feel right, wash right, repair right, and avoid embarrassment. Buttons were familiar. Tailors understood them. Customers trusted them. A row of buttons could be decorative. A zipper at first could look mechanical, industrial, even suspicious. Then came one of the zipper's most famous victories, the fly. In the 1930s, men's clothing began to promote the zipper as a better front closure. The episode is sometimes remembered as the Battle of the Fly. The point was not just speed. it was security. A zipper could close a long opening evenly and reduce the chance of gaps between buttons. It promised a smoother line and fewer awkward failures. That is a funny claim for such a small object, but it reveals the zipper's power. It took a private anxiety and turned it into an engineering problem. The zipper also matched the 20th century's hunger for speed and utility. Uniforms, flight suits, jackets, tents, sleeping bags, money belts, handbags, and luggage all had a reason to like it. A zipper could make a garment close fast in cold weather. It could seal a pocket before running. It could let a bag open wide, then shut tight. It could turn fabric into a container. Buttons are wonderful, but buttons close point by point. A zipper closes a path. That path can be straight, curved, hidden, exposed, heavy, tiny, waterproof, decorative, or purely functional. Once manufacturers learned to make different sizes and materials, the zipper became less like one invention and more like a family of solutions. There are metal zippers with a satisfying weight. There are plastic coil zippers that bend lightly through clothing and bags. There are invisible zippers that disappear into a dress seam. There are two-way zippers on jackets. There are separating zippers, closed-end zippers, waterproof zippers, chunky zippers, delicate zippers, bright fashion zippers, and zippers so ordinary you only notice them when they break. That last part is important. The zipper disappears when it works. It is a machine that lives inside soft materials. It has moving parts, but no battery. It translates a small hand motion into a long mechanical event. Each pull makes dozens or hundreds of tiny contacts line up in the right order. You do not count them, you just feel the slider travel. The zipper also changed design because it changed access. A bag could open along the top instead of only through a flap. A jacket could close quickly from bottom to neck. A boot could fit tightly without taking a long time to lace. A suitcase could open wide like a mouth. A pocket could become more secure. A tent door could become a shaped opening in fabric instead of a tied flap. Once you see the zipper this way, it is not just a clothing detail. It is a portable door. And like all doors, it controls what can pass through. Air, cold, rain, coins, documents, a body, a hand, a sleeping bag, a suitcase packed too full. The zipper is small, but it redraws the boundary between inside and outside. This is why the modern zipper business became so large. The same basic problem appears everywhere. Two flexible edges need to become one reliable edge. The Japanese company YKK is one of the most visible names in this world. Its origins go back to 1934, when Tadao Yoshida founded a fastening business in Tokyo. The YKK trademark was registered after the war, and over time the company became a global supplier whose initials appear quietly on zippers around the world. That tiny mark on a slider is a reminder that the zipper is not only an invention, it is a supply chain. A zipper has tape, teeth, slider, pull tab, stops, coatings, finishes, tolerances, machines, factories, and quality control. If any part is wrong, the user does not think about the supplier. They think the jacket is bad. That is the curse of the zipper. It receives blame when it fails and almost no praise when it works. And yet people kept choosing it. Not because it was beautiful at first, not because it was ancient, not because it replaced every older fastener. Buttons are still here, laces are still here. Buckles and snaps and hooks are still here. The zipper won a specific kind of work, fast, continuous, secure opening and closing along a line. That is enough to change daily life. You zip a backpack before school. You zip a jacket against wind. You zip a suitcase before a trip. You zip a tent before sleeping. You zip a pocket before running. You zip a dress, a boot, a pouch, a pencil case, a camera bag, a wallet, a hoodie, a sleeping bag, a raincoat. Each time, you are trusting a century of small mechanical refinement. And each time it works, you barely notice. That is the final trick of the zipper. It did not take over the world by being dramatic. It took over by making a difficult motion feel like one simple gesture. Pull up, closed, pull down, open. So the next time a zipper jams, do not just curse the teeth. Remember the older world hiding behind it. Buttons one by one, laces through holes, hooks meeting eyes, inventors chasing a closure that would not betray the person wearing it. The zipper became ordinary only after it became trustworthy. And maybe that is why the sound still feels satisfying. It is the sound of two sides agreeing to hold. If this changed how you look at the zipper on your jacket or bag, like the video, subscribe to History of Everyday Items and turn on notifications for the next strange story hiding in plain sight.